Welcome back for another video. In today's video I'll be running through my Gameweek 8 team selection and thoughts heading into this game week. The wildcard has been activated, so it's an exciting game week and there's time to consider the options over the break. Hope everyone's having a nice break, albeit probably missing the Premier League football. I'll post my final team selection video again just before Gameweek 8, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. I've also been working on a video in the background for the last couple of weeks, which will be a rare addition to the special videos playlist, and I hope to have it with you this weekend. Let's start with a quick look back at how Game Week 7 went. 53 points all out, which was the fourth successive green arrow and an increase from 28k to 12.8k overall. I mentioned before the deadline that I was hoping Shaw starts, which he did, but he frustrated yet again by failing to keep a clean sheet against Everton. In the end, we actually would have been better off starting Veltman. However, we did at least get the clean sheet points from Sanchez and the 0-0 draw of Arsenal. The two transfers somewhat saved the game week. Trent was shifted on for Azpilicueta, who got 2 assists and 2 bonus, and Jota was shifted on for Son, who also got 2 assists and 2 bonus. Salah put in a wonderful performance against Man City. Those that follow me on Twitter may have seen my last tweet about Salah's good record against Man City, and also mentioned that there's an average of 3.5 goals per game when Man City and Liverpool play each other. It was a great game and Salah captain is well rewarded, so well done if you did have the armband on him. We should have paid more attention to the data, but subsequently went for Lukaku, who should have come away with more. He was the biggest XG underperformer of Game Week 7, failing to score with an XG of 0.77. The wildcard is active, so let's get on to the Game Week 8 team selection and current plans. Sanchez was a good servant to the team, but in comes Ramsdale on the wildcard. He's had an impressive start to his Arsenal career, keeping 3 clean sheets in his 4 games and conceded just 1 goal. He's had a price increase to 4.6, which is still great value, and 3 of his next 4 games are at home. There is a small element of doubt that he could lose his spot to Leno, but you'd imagine he'd have to put in some really poor performances to do so. In a press conference, Arteta said that he cannot guarantee to Leno that he plays again this season, which does sound promising. In the 4 games he's played, Arsenal were 3rd best in the league for expected goals conceded on 3.85 XGC. Next up is Azpilicueta, who keeps his spot in the team after his 10-pointer in Game Week 7. Chelsea have the best run of fixtures in the league coming up, which has been widely discussed. He's capable of playing both centre-back and right-wing-back, and that versatility is useful as it increases his chances of playing, and he does look among the most nailed in their defence. Rudiger is the other Chelsea defender in the wildcard draft for a double up in defence. Rudiger's been going up for corners while Christensen has been staying back more, and in Game Week 5 Rudiger scored against Tottenham. He hasn't missed a minute of football all season and has 4 clean sheets from 7 games. If you fancy a risk, then Chilwell could emerge as the best option of them all. He started in Game Week 7 and scored against Southampton, but for now we'll resist temptation. Cancelo also remains in the team and as it stands is the highest scoring defender in the game on 44 points. He has 3 fantastic fixtures coming up and is 3rd among all defenders for expected goal involvement on 1.86 XGC. Cancelo is another player that hasn't missed a minute of Premier League football and we'll hope that can remain the case. Man City are currently 3rd, so Pep isn't in a luxury position to be benching some of his best players like we saw at the tail end of last season. Zinchenko could be back in time for Game Week 8. However, there is always the possibility of Cancelo playing right back and Walker being the one who misses out. Smith Rowe comes into the team, priced very reasonably at 5.3 after a couple of price drops. He's got 4 great fixtures ahead and has been getting very consistent minutes in the team. Saka is a very good option as well, however both Saka and Smith Rowe are dead even on expected goal involvement so far, so we've opted for the cheaper of the two and I've used that money elsewhere, which we'll get to later. Unsurprisingly, Salah remains in the team. He's 21 points clear as the top scoring player in the game and is top among all players for expected goal involvement. There really isn't too much to discuss when it comes to Salah, you simply have to own him. Salah gets the armband for Game Week 8 against newly appointed Ranieri's Watford. Rafinha's fixtures still look great and he keeps his place in the team. Leeds have been unfortunate of injuries and should hopefully be back to full strength by the end of the break. They got a hard-fought win in Game Week 7 against Watford, along with their first clean sheet of the season, so the tides might be turning favourably for Leeds. Spurs have been quite unimpressive overall collectively, but Son has impressed individually. Despite Kane's drop-off, Son has managed 3 goals and 2 assists for a total of 5 goal involvements in the 6 games he's played. He's only 13% owned and faces Newcastle, who are rock bottom for expected goals conceded on 13.65, which is even worse than Norwich. Newcastle and Norwich are however tied on 20 big chances conceded and 16 goals conceded. After Newcastle, Sun has 3 fixtures rated red, which might dissuade some managers, but West Ham and Man United are mid-table for expected goals conceded and have European commitments. Spurs do have Conference League commitments too, but not of the same difficulty, and they've been able to rotate heavily. Long term beyond that, Sun's fixtures are great, so hopefully he can continue his form and remain in the team. We've had Antonio since Game Week 1 and he remains in the team for now. He's been in some of the best form in the league, despite his disappointing blank in the loss against Brentford at home last game week. There could be an opportunity to shift him on in the next few weeks as his fixtures aren't great, but it would be risky to gamble on it right now. Antonio snubbed the Jamaica international team over the break, so he'll be fully focused on West Ham. There's a really great spread of mid-price strikers right now, which I'll get to shortly. The final player who keeps his spot is Lukaku. He too had an underwhelming Game Week 7, and despite failing to score in his last 3 games, he's well worth holding for the upcoming games, particularly the Norwich and Newcastle games in Game Weeks 9 and Game Week 10. When picking your team, it's important to have an idea of who you'll be captaining in later weeks, and Lukaku is the obvious pick while Salah faces Man United in a couple of weeks. The final forward is Hwang from Wolves, who scored twice in their 2-1 win against Newcastle in Game Week 7. He's still only 5.6 and could be a massive bargain if he keeps getting good minutes. He faces Aston Villa in Game Week 8, who will most likely be missing both Martinez and Douglas Luiz due to their international fixtures, both of which will be huge misses defensively. Hwang's only featured in 4 games, which is a limited data set, but he has an expected goal involvement every 133 minutes, which is on par with Lukaku, Jota and Vardy. I mentioned earlier that we have money in the bank, which is 2.2 mil and can be used to change Hwang to a player like Bamford or Tony, or it could be used to move a defender up to Trent. Hwang's not a definite in the team, and I'll post a follow-up team next week just in case of any changes or news. On the bench it's Foster, Livramento, Norman and Manquillo. Foster's got the most minutes of the 4.0 keepers. He could well lose his spot to Backman, but he's currently the likeliest of the bunch to get minutes, just in case we ever need to call on him. In the 3 games Foster's played, he's conceded a single goal in each game, so perhaps something for the Hornets to build upon. If Ranieri turns them around and he's still playing by Game Week 12, then perhaps you can make a case for starting him ahead of Ramsdale, who is away at Anfield that week. Livramento is fantastic value for 4.2. He started every game and has kept 2 clean sheets despite some tough games including Chelsea, Man City and Man United. It's unlikely we'll need to call upon him, but if we do, his next 5 games are quite good, and I'm sure there will be a game week here and there where he's on the bench and we miss out on some clean sheet points. Norman's an interesting one, just 0.1% owned. I was digging through the data and was surprised to discover that he's taken 4 shots from direct free kicks, which is the joint most among all players, tied with Ward-Prowse. He's also been taking some corners and has the best minutes per expected goal involvement of all the 4.5mm mids. I even had a skim through the Norwich subreddit, as I've admittedly not watched many Norwich games, and they've been thoroughly impressed by his impact since coming in, and he does have 1 assist already. Norwich are another side with a very good run of games coming up starting in Game Week 10, and if they stand any chance of staying up, they'll need to pick up some points there. Douglas Luiz is a great option too, but those going for him just need to be aware that he may miss Game Week 8 and Game Week 12 because of international fixtures. Manquillo will be firmly last on the bench if he does remain in the team. He's only 4 mil and has been getting good minutes lately, and even an assist last game week. He is competing with Lewis for the left back spot, so there is some concern that he loses his spot. Let me know what you think of the team. It does feel good to be wildcarding from a position of strength with a good overall rank, so let's hope we can continue to do well as the season progresses. As always, I'll post my final team on my channel and Twitter, and there will be another Game Week 8 Team Selection video before the deadline, just in case there's any changes to the team. Let me know in the comments how your Game Week 7 went and what your plan is for Game Week 8. I read every comment, so if you enjoyed the video, let me know. And lastly, please remember to like the video and hit subscribe to support the channel.